If you're looking for a project that is affordable, will be completed fast, and suitable for families, then Sembawang Portico might be the project for you. This project is bounded by Admiralty Lane and Sembawang Drive and comprises of 3 residential blocks, each 26 stories high, offering a total of 875 units of 2-room flexi, 3-room, 4-room, and 5-room flats. I know there have been so many BTO projects in Sembawang in the past, several launches, so the easiest way to remember about this Sembawang Portico is that this is the BTO project next to the North Oaks Primary School. That's probably the easiest way to remember this project. In terms of construction time, because this project is part of the shorter waiting time program, the waiting time is estimated to be about 31 months, which is quite fast for HDB of this size. In terms of the on-site facilities, unfortunately, this project will only comes with a preschool, but not to worry because the BTO development just across the street, Sembawang Brook, has more on-site facilities, so you can just walk over there for convenience. If you're wondering how far is the nearest MRT station, unfortunately, it's not within walking distance. It's about 1.4 kilometer away according to Google Map, so you just have to rely on feeder bus if you live in this BTO. And as predicted, the classification for this project is standard, which means that you just get the typical restrictions such as 5-year MOP and no subsidy recovery or subsidy clawback at all, so that's good. And you will also be able to rent out the whole flat after MOP, and your future buyer is not subjected to any income ceiling cap. Now, if we look at the site plan, the design is kind of interesting because the layout seems to basically having the blocks surrounding the multi-story car park. However, I would say the watch out about this layout is that it tends to have very long corridors. For example, if we take a look at block 434A that are serving 12 units, but then these units are quite big. We're talking about 3-room, 4-room, and 5-room flats. So the amount of occupants would be more than one, right? Because it's not 2-room flexi. So you can imagine that many people sharing 5 lifts. So indeed, I would say that the proportion between lifts versus number of units is not very ideal in this project. Now, if you're wondering where is the rental blocks, it's basically here in 433A. So as you can see, stack 405 and stack 407 are rental units. Now, if you want to know what are my other insights and observation regarding this site plan, like which one would be the best stack and which ones are less than ideal, please check out my other video as I'm discussing it separately. Now, let's talk about pricing. Now, for Sembawang Portico, 2-room flexi type 1 starts from $142,000 up to $184,000, while 2-room flexi type 2 starts from $157,000 up to $225,000. For 3-room, the price starts from $250,000 up to $344,000, while 4-room starts from $320,000 up to $437,000. And for 5-room, it is also still very reasonable, starting from $465,000 to $579,000. Now, if you look at the resale prices in the nearby area according to HDB, so these are the data. However, given that in the URA master plan, Sembawang Shipyard transformation is slotted to be happening in near future, the overall resale value of the area might actually jump even beyond what is stated here. And again, because this project is only classified as a standard, then there's no subsidy recovery percentage that you need to give back to HDB when you sell your flat. Or if let's say you want to keep it as a passive income, you can also rent out the whole flat or even just rent out some spare rooms for additional income. Now let's talk about the location. So if I look at the Google map, I believe that this is the land plot that we're talking about. As you can see, it is very huge. So no wonder it can fit more than 2,000 flats combined, because indeed it is a very huge land plot. If the land plot looks familiar, it is because the previous Sembawang BTO launches are basically located here, and I believe also here. So we have had like quite a lot of Sembawang launches in the past couple of years. Now, what is exciting about this location is the upcoming Sembawang Shipyard transformation, assuming that it will happen. So as you can see, there's this giant dock basically, right? So URA actually have a master plan about this. The plan called Sembawang Shipyard Transformation Plan. It will basically transform the 86-hectare site into a mixed-use waterfront lifestyle district. So if indeed this plan push through, I believe that sooner or later it will also bring like more convenient transport option there. I don't know whether it's only about additional bus routes or maybe additional MRT station. Hopefully that's the case. But the area is quite huge because the development is roughly about 3 times the size of Ang Mo Kio town center. So if indeed this push through, this will significantly boost the resale value of the area. So as you can see, your Sembawang plot is very near to the Sembawang shipyard itself. And as you can imagine, if you manage to get a flat here and it is only categorized as standard flat, then you will have just the typical restrictions, which means that you can rent out the whole flat after MOP, and then there's no income ceiling restriction for future resale buyers, etc. So indeed, if the Sembawang shipyard plan actually push through, it will be very beneficial for the BTO owners over here. Now let's talk about the school option. As you can see, obviously, North Oaks Primary School is within walking distance, and then you can also see Canberra Secondary School over here. There's another primary school over here. So if we switch back to the HDB map, as you can see, even if we zoom out, there are more school options. So this is a good news for people with young children. If you are wondering where is the nearest MRT station, so it's right over here. So this is the land plot, right? And Sembawang MRT station is over here. So clearly you would need to take a feeder bus because it's kind of a bit far if you just walk. Obviously, near Sembawang MRT station, you will be able to find more amenities such as mall and also hawker center and plenty other shops. If you want something within the walking distance, on top of the on-site facilities that is offered in the Sembawang Drive BTO plot, you also have another eating house here and also several shops and cafe around here as well. So there are some amenities within walking distance, but of course it is kind of limited. That's the reality. For families with young children, there's this Jelutong Harbor Water Playground over here. I've been here before. It's actually quite nice and it's also free. So yeah, it's nice to go on the weekends with your family. Now let's talk about the pros and cons, and starting from what I like about this project. So if you look at the lineup for June 2026 BTO launches, this project is one of those options that is relatively affordable. It is very budget friendly, so that's good for Singaporean family who wants to make sure that their spending is within their budget. And I also appreciate that this project is part of the shorter waiting time. So again, you only need to wait for about 31 months to collect the key, so that's excellent. For young families, the school options in Sembawang area is also quite good. And another thing that I like about this project is because HDB has been rolling out back-to-back Sembawang project for the past several launches, and even until the upcoming October 2026 BTO launch, they are still launching Sembawang. Oh my god. But if you want to look at it from a positive angle, that would mean that there are so many BTO flats in Sembawang that I think you would have relatively low competition if you apply for Sembawang Town in this launch. And then another thing I like about this project, well, it also has a 5-room option. So I think that's good because meaning there's a relatively wide selection of flat types. But of course, if you are interested to get 3-gen flat instead, it's only being offered at the other Sembawang BTO, which is Sembawang Brook. Another thing that I like is probably the standard classification. Because if Sembawang Shipyard Transformation Plan actually pushes through, and this project you are able to get it under the standard restrictions, then you might be able to profit quite handsomely actually, because such transformation plan most probably would be able to rejuvenate the area. Another thing that I like is there are plenty of resale benchmarks in the future because this BTO has a lot of units, and then several BTOs around the area are also mega projects, which means that when it's time for you to sell, there should be a lot of benchmark that you will be able to refer to. So typically, if that's the case, it's relatively easier to fetch higher price. Now, on the other hand, what don't I like about this project? Unfortunately, it is far away from any MRT station. As mentioned, it's about 1.4 kilometers away from Sembawang MRT station. However, I do hear some rumors that new MRT station might be built near the vicinity in the future, especially if the Sembawang shipyard transformation actually pushes through. But until now, as far as I know, there's no confirmed plan yet. Another thing that I don't like is that this project do have limited amenities. Like even the on-site facilities is not that extensive, right, compared to the other Sembawang project across the street. But it makes sense because I'm sure the way HDB thinks is that, oh, you already have an eating house across the street, why bother setting up another eating house in Sembawang Portico, which is a fair standpoint. Another thing that I think you need to watch out for is that because the area is still developing, there will be quite a lot of construction noise and dust for I don't know how many years. So that is something that you mentally need to be prepared of. So in summary, what do I think about this project? Well, I think if your focus is to make sure that you are able to secure an affordable house fast, meaning you don't have to wait so long to collect the keys, and you don't mind taking feeder buses, then probably this is a good project for you to consider. With the upcoming Sembawang Shipyard Transformation Plan, I do believe that it will increase the overall value of the area, and given how aggressive HDB has been rolling out different BTO back to back in the Sembawang area, to me that indicates that the Sembawang Shipyard Transformation Plan actually will push us through. Because otherwise, like, why would they bring in so many residents in that area, right? It doesn't make sense. It only makes sense if indeed that transformation plan will actually push through in the near future. Another thing is that even though there are two projects in Sembawang town in this BTO launch, I think it's pretty much almost apple to apple. Personally, I wouldn't mind too much like which one I get depending on your queue number. As you know, you only able to select a town and also the flat type, and then you cannot pick the project from the start. You can only do so if, let's say, you manage to get a queue number and you're being called to the HDB office, then you will be able to pick based on what's still available during your appointment. But Sembawang Portico, Sembawang Brook, it's not that much difference in my opinion beyond the price. And interestingly, prices between these two projects, even though they are just across the street from one another, somehow the price is slightly different. But I don't know whether you are that sensitive to the price. I think depending on individual situation. But what do you think? Let me know in the comment section down below if you think I missed anything. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye bye. To support my work, you can give a one-time tip by pressing the thanks button, pick the amount that you want, and click buy and send. Or you can also press the join button for exclusive contents and monthly membership. Your support means a lot to keep us independent. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye bye.